a quick. So, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, we'll discuss the major GRC point of view. So, as you guys know already, GRC is an automated tool. Okay, so this SAP Business Object GRC Access Control is an enterprise software application that enables organizations to control access and prevent fraud across the enterprise while minimizing the time and cost of compliance. Okay, the application streamlines compliance process, including access risk analysis, remediation, business role management, access request management, super user maintenance, and periodic compliance certifications, which delivers immediate visibility of the current risk situation with the real-time data. So this GRC is an integrated holistic approach to organization-wide governance, risk and compliance, ensuring that an organization acts ethically correct and in accordance with its internal policies and external regulations through the alignment of strategy, process, technology, and people, thereby improving efficiency and effectiveness. So, just to go through the more details about this GRC, G means like governance, R means risk and compliance. So before this GRC, how really the SAP projects were handling the risk analysis part, the risk part in the organization, and also there were, you know, some old tools were there. So how the old tools were used in the risk analysis part, and why we really need this GRC tool or any other third-party tools to identify the violations, etc. So if you just go back before this GRC or any other third-party tools, identifying violation, or if you can say risk, or we can say SOD conflict, is very difficult before this GRC and other third-party tools. So it was more expensive also. So people are thinking nowadays in implementing GRC is more expensive. So we need to spend a lot of money on GRC. But I'm telling you, before this GRC and third-party tools, it was more expensive to identify risks in an organization for any user and role. And also that was not accurate. That was not accurate. So if you want to identify violations, so what we do, if there are no SOD conflicts, I mean SOD tools, and if there are no GRC tool, definitely we need to depend on auditors. We can simply say auditors. So auditors used to extract the data from SAP system, from tables or some other reports, and they used to work on most Excel work, and they used to compare the roles, identifying the T codes, combination of T codes, and the user's position. So they used to extract all this information, and then finally they will identify, okay, these are the combination of T codes or risk in that organization, so which needs to be avoided or which needs to be remediated, kind of stuff. Even though you extract the data completely from the system, okay, so I'm just saying here most of the work is manual work. So here manual work by the auditors. And is it really accurate? It's not really 100% accurate also. Though they work on many reports, though they join many tables and get the information and try to remediate it by modifying the roles and users, definitely it is not 100% accurate. Definitely this is a disadvantage. And also I can definitely say auditors are more expensive also at that time. Auditors are most expensive. We need to spend a lot of money for auditors, and we need to ask them to identify risks in the company and then remediate it or mitigate it as per the requirement. So kind of precautions which we are going to take care of it. So that's the reason some third party third-party tools came to the picture initially. So as you know, before GRC, we had so many third-party tools available. So just let me tell you, third-party tools, I can say SOD tools. Third-party SOD tools. I can say Vitsa, Approva, CSC, etc. So later we got GRC into the picture. So people were started using different third-party tools for this risk analysis and for this SOD conflicts to identify an organization and then remediate it. Remediate in the sense removing authorizations like unwanted authorizations, additional authorizations from the users and roles to make sure the company is risk-free company. The company is risk-free company. As you guys know, if any company is following all the rules and regulations properly, all audit rules properly, all SOX rules properly, then only people will believe that company and people will invest something at least in that company. Otherwise, no one will invest anything and people will not believe that company also. If they do not follow all proper SOD rules, SOX rules or audit rules. Okay. So definitely, so in order to identify the risks in the company, we had a lot of third-party tools like this, and later the GRC came into the picture. I'll tell you that also, how GRC came and how it is working and what concept it was using and how the changes happen now also in GRC stuff. Okay, so all these tools are used to identify the risk in the company. So now if you try to understand, G means governance. As you have seen here, just before SOX. So this is what the governance. It's a corporate governance ensures ethical corporate behavior together with management practices in the creation of wealth for all stakeholders. So governance is nothing but they should spell out their rules and regulations, policies, procedures, okay, for making decisions about their corporate affairs. So that is the rule. Every company should spell out their rules and regulations. If they are going to, take over any company, they should definitely explain what is their financial status and how are they are going to take over the other company. Okay, so they need to explain these things to the stakeholders, the public who are, investing money in their companies. That is the right of the investors also. Then only you believe that company and invest something. And governance says it should ensure ethical behavior together with management practices in the creation of wealth for all stakeholders. That is called governance. So ruling and in a proper way by following all rules and regulations is called governance. So now when it comes to risk, what is risk? Risk is nothing but in our general terminology, which is going to be happen something. Risk is nothing but which is going to be happen something is called risk. So what are you going to do to avoid that risk and what is that risk? Okay. So mostly existence of a threat for a business process and likelihood of occurrence, impact on the business process is called risk. So when can you say the company is risk from our SAP point of view is if users are having unwanted, unauthorized, additional authorizations to users in an SAP system is always a risk. A simple example is if I have access to create sales order, change sales order, approve sales order, generate invoice, and deliver the goods. For example, if you take lot of examples are there. If a single person is having these many transaction codes access with the combination of these complete business transactions, then definitely it is a risk. The simple example is if I have access to SU01 and PFCG also is a risk as per SOD rules and as per GRC SOX rules. So having the critical combination of T codes or having the complete business transaction is also a risk in the company. Why? The user can commit for mistake at any time if he has that control. The best example is the Ramalinga Rasu. You know, right? So he had full control in the company and he has committed for a lot of mistakes. The same way, the risk is going to be happen something if he has control in the system. That is very important. So the access is very important. Having access for critical transaction codes is very difficult and also risk in the company. So the access or authorization should be provided to the user depends on his position or roles which he is going to perform in the company. He should not have unnecessarily the additional access or critical combination of access. So if you start explaining about that SOD, that is nothing but SOD only, segregation of duties. As you know, the segregation of duties, that is very important word from security point of view. Segregation of duties. Or you can call it as separation of duties also. So your GRC and any other third-party tools are working on this SOD concept only, separation of duties or segregation of duties. So if you are working on any SAP security implementation projects, so we definitely consider SOD matrix. SOD matrix or matrix is nothing but in that document we mentioned very clearly who are all users, what are their positions, what are the transaction codes they are going to access, and what kind of access they require, like create, change, approve, lot of activities they are going to perform, right? So that needs to be mentioned, and what kind of roles they require, and the transaction codes information also. So if you have SOD matrix with your all the details, then it will be very easy to provide access to anyone and also to control risks in the company. So as you guys know already, segregation of duty or separation of duty is nothing but the users, their positions, along with their positions, and simple thing, the users along with their positions and roles and responsibilities is called a segregation of duty. So as I told you just now, creating sales order, changing sales order, approving sales order, and also creating purchase order, changing purchase order, approving purchase order. These duties needs to be separated. The same person should not be able to create purchase order. The same person should not be able to modify purchase order, and the same person should not be able to approve the same purchase order. So people, they at least the required positions needs to be fulfilled with the proper authorizations so that we can avoid misutilization in the company. Misutilization in the company. So SOD is a heart of SAP security, as you guys know. So SAP GRC is also working on based on this SOD concept. SOD concept. So there are so many examples for SODs, as you guys know already. Even if you take the recruitment process, for example. So how the recruitment process goes, just to understand how really important this SOD is, if you take this recruitment process, generally HR will call the job seekers and schedule an interview, right? That's a first stage. If you're searching for a job, then HR will enter into the picture in the initial, and then he will, or HR will definitely call you and schedule the interview. So the second part is technical round. The second technical person will take the technical round. And third one is like the second level technical round also might be there, depends on the company. And once the technical rounds are over, then manager round will be there. Okay. And then so simply HR, technical guys, technical round, and next manager round, and next HR manager round, and finally offer will be released. Offer will be released. If you see in a simple recruitment process, why these many guys are getting involved? Very simple. If you give this complete access to a same person, there will be a lot of misutilization. For example, if I have this control, I'll call my friends and who knows me very well, and then I will take technical on and give good feedback. I'll take manager on and will give very good feedback, and will offer however they want, and then offer will be released. Okay, so this is called segregation of duties. So very important in every SAP project, and that SAP security consultant is going to take care of this SOD concept. So we are going to build users roles as per SOD rules. Then only the misutilization can be avoided. The users cannot access every transaction code which is not required for him as per his position, and he can only just access the authorized transaction codes, whatever he is authorized, and he can perform the respective business transactions in SAP system, and the business will be very smooth, and also the risk will be very less. I cannot say 0%, but definitely the risk will be very less, because there are few cases the client may not accept each and every rule which is designed by SAP or GRC. Okay, that we'll discuss slowly later. So this is called segregation of duties concept. Just a simple sentence, a segregation of duties, and the definition is this. Okay. Any questions as of now? Anybody has any questions as of now? No, right? Perfect. And if you see that segregation of duties from definitions point of view, so this is what the segregation of duties says. Okay, segregation of duties is one of the key concepts of internal control and is the most difficult and sometimes the most costly one to achieve. In essence, SOD implements an appropriate level of checks and balances upon the activities of individuals. Okay, so the segregation of duty as a security principle has its primary objective the prevention of fraud and errors. This objective is achieved by uh, disseminating the tasks and associated privileges for a specific business process among multiple users. Okay, so there are few examples also here, and the SOD is very important, and we have few third-party tools. I told you, right? SAP GRC, Approva, Oversight, and we have some bearing points. We have CSC. We have the other third-party tools. But I'm telling you, the famous and some important tools are these. Some important tools are these. Okay. So I think these are also few more third-party tools we had in the earlier. Let me give you this just kind of difference. Oversight and bearing also. Okay. I'll tell you, so maybe we'll go through this Virsa once because this is a very famous tool, I can say, comparatively with other SOD tools. Virsa, very famous tool, and Virsa came into the picture, in 90s, and then this is a purely Indian-based company, and then I'll explain you the components about it, and then we jump into GRC also. Okay, and if you see a few examples, you might also not want to give authorization of creating vendor and initiating payments to same person or creating a customer and processing a sales order, as in both cases might lead to making fraud payments or inappropriate sales of goods. This is a kind of example, if the same person has access to create vendor and initiate payments, definitely a risk. That's the reason the user should not have both the transaction codes access. So that needs to be identified. So how can you identify it? If it is manual, it's very difficult. You should have the complete knowledge on them, and you need to extract the user's information, roles information, and the users and roles combination, users and transaction codes combination, and then finally you can say these are the critical combination of three codes this user is having, this is a risk. But you don't get an automated alert, and you cannot simply identify automatically. There is a lot of manual effort is required if there is no SOD tools available. That was my intention to say simply. These SOD tools are very important. Nowadays in the market, they are very demanded. Obviously, you know why people are going for GRC, because GRC is going to take care of all the risks in the company from hire to retire. from the hire to retire. It's not only just to provide access to users and controlling access of the users. It also take care of the non-SAP related stuff and other than this users access and authorizations also, it makes sure that company is risk-free company in all the ways. Okay, that's the reason we need these SOD tools required. And if you see here, this example here, just a kind of overview on SOX rule. So you understood that SOD concept. Anyway, in the coming sessions, we'll be going again with this concept from the beginning and very in depth. But I just would like to give you a high level overview on few definitions and then we go to further. Okay, SOX rule is also one more important word. SOX is an act. SOX is an act. So we can simply say here SOX act. Each government will have their own acts, right? Obviously, each country will have their own acts. So they should follow those acts and rules and regulations to rule anything. So if you take any example, each country will have their own government. What government do? They follow all the rules and regulations and they spell out their policies to the public and they try to have proper ruling or proper government or governance in the country. So this SOX Act, as you know very well, it came from US. I can say US Act. So Sarbanes and Oxley are the two auditors or senators, I can say. So they introduced this SOX Act in 2002. But I can say it was accepted by in 2004 by the US government. So what happened? Accepted by US government. There were so many scams happened in US, like Enron and scam and Lehman Brothers. There are so many bankruptcy, and there were so many scams happened. After that, US government accepted this SOX. Initially, they have not accepted it. Later, they accepted it as per SOX rules. I'm telling you, SOX 404, 501, 302. There are so many acts available. Each act will say something. SOX 302, the company CFO or CEO of the company should not sign on any report with material errors. It's a SOX 302. For example, I'm telling you, we'll go through these things later very slowly. Okay, if you say SOX 404, SOX 501, etc. So what 302 says? You should not. You means like the CFO or CEO of the company should not sign on any report with material errors. That should be corrected. If there is something error, he should take care of it. That is his responsibility. Okay, and after correcting the material errors, then only he should sign on it. So this is a rule, and like that, SOX 404, if you say, the complete business transaction should not be given to a same person, a single person. As we discussed, segregation of duties, like creating vendor and initiating payment should not be given to a same person. Okay, so VA01 and VB01 should not be given to a same person. What happens? You can create sales order, you can give discount also. And SU01 and PFCC transaction codes should not be given to a same person. So like that, there are few complete business transactions should not be given to a single same person, because there is a chance for committing mistake if he has complete business transactions. It is nothing but giving, fire and gas to a same person. If you give fire and gas to a same person, then it will be at risk, a threat. That guy can blast anything. And bullet and gun should not be given to a, so you need to control it. There should be some policy, rules, regulations, procedures to use anything. Okay, I mean, just for your understanding, I'm giving the general sentences. Okay, so the same way in SAP system, there are thousands of transaction codes for each business process. Each business process is nothing but like OTC, RTC, order to cash, requisition to cash, procure to pay, like PTP. We have finance, right? So if you want to say in high level, we have like SD, MM, FICO, HR. What are all these things? These are all logistics. You can simply say logistics. So logistics are nothing but SD, MM, FICO, etc. So let me give you just a simple thing here. So logistics are nothing but SD, MM, finance, I can say FICO, HR, PP. So these are all called logistics, commonly called as logistics, and which are very important and basic business processes, or you can say modules in every SAP ECC landscape. Very important and very basic. If you install any SAP ECC system, then you will get these logistics by default. And all functional SD functional MM functional guys are going to work with your ECC. Of course, as a security person, we are going to work with this ECC and other components, other applications. So ECC application contains by default this logistics. The other applications don't contain these logistics because the exact business will be running in ECC. And that's the reason we mostly concentrate on ECC systems, especially in defining rules, SOD rules, and taking care of users' authorizations. Very important in ECC application always. Okay, so when you are going to give authorizations to each person in respective business areas, we should consider the respective critical combination of T codes, and we need to avoid those critical combination of access, and then provide proper authorization as per position and as per SOD rules and SOX rules. And just for information, these SD can be called as OTC, okay, order to cash. Maybe I think you already know it, because in different projects we call these business processes or modules in different naming conventions. Okay, don't expect always we call SD only. So in some of the organizations we call it as always OTC, and in OTC itself we have sub modules like OTC IOM, order management. If you say OTC pricing, and OTC CAM, okay, fleet management, and if you say like I think asset management, and in OTC itself we have Leo also. So these are all sub modules of this OTC business process. If you take RTC, like we have requisition to cash, that is nothing but MM. So we have in MM like warehouse management, extended or EWM, WM, and normal MM, basic MM. Okay, and in the same way, finance also we have sub modules GL, and GL means general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, banking. Okay, and the other things. So we have HR and PP as well. So these are all commonly called as logistics. So don't get confused with the different naming conventions. So please make sure that you are clear on this business process and with the different naming conventions, because you are going to define SOD rules for each business process separately for SD, MM, FICO, HR, and these remaining logistics. Because the users will be dependent, created depends on his position in the respective business process, in the respective functional area. Okay, so why I am telling this point also here is, when you talk about SOX, and in each business process, you should not give the complete access or unwanted critical combination of T codes to the same person. That should be avoided. So that is a SOX 404. That is SOX says, the SOX Act says. So now US government is following SOX rules. If you say US government is following SOX, and if you take India, what is the act we follow? Any idea? Anybody? Just no, right? Anil is no. Okay, so if you say India should follow, we have our own clause actually. That is called clause 49, CLA, clause 49. So India follows clause 49. And if you say Like Japan, we have they have JSOX. They have JSOX. If you take Canada, they have investment protection and law something. Okay, each country will have their own acts. They should follow those acts. Of course, if you see now, this SOX Act is in India also. Always, we love to follow US, right? So we are following SOX Acts in US government, in SOX Acts in Indian companies also. Of course, there is nothing wrong. When something is working very fine and it is really good, then we may also follow those SOX acts. So nowadays, all GRC implementations are following SOX acts. So that is very powerful actually. So SAP GRC has been designed by following SOD, SOX rules properly and perfectly. So they designed SOD rules as per segregation of duties rules and SOX acts. Automatically, now you are able to identify violations for user and then defining it. So you are not creating anything new in SAP GRC. SAP GRC has provided already a standard rule set. Of course, you are going to customize it if your client is expecting something customization as per their requirement. That is the second point. But SAP did complete R&D and they designed this SAP GRC tool with all the rule sets for different business process and for different kind of businesses, like for manufacturing, oil and gas, and whatever it is. Okay, so this is about something SOX Act. So we just try to understand what is GRC definition and what is SOX and what is SOD and why we need this SOD tools or GRC, because it is very expensive without these SOD tools, I can say, because auditors are more expensive, first of all, if you think about that. And also, there is a lot of manual work. There was no automation, and that was not 100% accuracy. So we need a tool which should be able to identify violations for users and in an organization, and should be able to provide us a kind of alert or a kind of information proactively that the users are going to have these violations, so that we'll be very careful in providing authorizations, etc. As you guys know, when you are going to give, when you are going to create a user or give authorizations, you will definitely run the risk analysis. If you see CUP, as you worked on GRC 5.3, so in at particular stage in the workflow, definitely risk analysis will be performed before creating the user. So this is a kind of proactive. And I think I forgot to say what is compliance. So compliance is nothing but the precautions or preventions which you are going to take avoid this risk. So you understood governance definition. It should spell out all the rules and regulations, and it makes sure or ensures the ethical behavior of the company. Okay, and what is risk? A kind of threat which is going to be happen in the future. And if anybody has the complete control with critical combination of T codes is nothing but risk. And what is compliance now? The compliance is nothing but the precautions or rules and regulations or policies which you are going to follow to avoid risk in the company. So that is commonly called as GRC. Okay, so and we try to understand SOX and SOD simple in a simple terminology. You see this diagram here, you will understand it. So before our GRC, there's a big question mark here, and if you read this information also, you will be understanding it. The current access and authorization approach leads to the following consequences. It does not own the responsibility for proper segregation of duties. However, they cannot pass the responsibility to the business side as they lack the collaboration tools and language to effectively to collaborate with the business owners. So simple thing is here, you cannot simply say, or you cannot pass this responsibility to business side. Please take care of the segregation of duties properly from your side only. How business people can understand these technical things? They are lacking in technical stuff. They are lacking in technical stuff. Okay, if you say this, okay, line of business managers own the responsibility for segregation of duties, but they lack the technical depth to manage user access as they rely on IT. So business users are relying on IT. And if you say IT doesn't know complete business terminology, the business process. So technical IT people and the business people are different people who knows something. Okay, but they don't know complete both the things. So internal auditors are trying desperately to stay on top of a SOD issue. However, with manually maintained spreadsheets listing the access, authorizations of all employees, contractors, partners, and so on, they can only perform a very limited audit at a very high cost. That's the reason we need a solution. So that is this solution. GRC is going to take care of everything. If you see this diagram, then you will be knowing about it. Okay, implementation of comprehensive risk based access and authorization management. Okay, so we can definitely put our company on top of risk free thing. Okay, so your GRC has been here implemented, and which is going to coordinate with all the different sectors in the company: internal audit, IT operations, information security, operations, human resources, and finance. Then it will be making sure that your company is risk free company. This is the approach. So I told you, right? So SOX, each company is having their own acts actually. So these are all different acts each company is having. So Germany, and this is for European and some other things also. Okay. So before jumping into this architecture and all, this is a basic information I just would like to recollect for you. Okay. And as of now, any questions for you? Okay, good. If there are no questions, so now next point is, I told you we had some third-party tools like Virsa and CSC, Oversight, and Approva, etc. That is in the from the beginning. So I'm telling you the powerful and very important third-party tool we had is Virsa. We had is Virsa tool, and I'm telling you Virsa is a Indian-based company. Indian Indian-based company. Indian-based company completely. It is Indian-based company. And I'm telling you, there is a name called Jasveer Gill has introduced Virsa tool. This guy has introduced this Virsa tool. I can definitely proudly say this is Indian tool. Okay, still we have Virsa company, if you know, and my students got placed in Virsa also. And when you say this Virsa tool, they introduce this Virsa tool as a third-party tool. And what SAP did is they acquired it, and they used to implement or deploy as an add-on. And if you remember SAP advantages, SAP is having a very good advantage that it can be integrated with any third-party tools, obviously, right? So how it will be integrated? As an add-on. So by using Saint transaction code and spam, so it's a part of basis thing. So basis guys will taking care of it. By using Saint and spam T codes, they are going to deploy this Virsa component, Virsa tool, okay, in our SAP system. Once this is deployed or implemented or installed as an add-on in our SAP ECC box, for example, in the ABAP stack, then you get the Virsa tool functionality. Okay, then you get these tools. So Virsa components. Just let me tell you this Virsa components. So number one is access enforcer, which can be called as AE. Number two is compliance calibrator, which can be called as CC. Number three is role expert, RE, and number four is firefighter. They introduce these components in the beginning, and of course GRC is following the same concept still. And of course we have one more component, that is risk terminator. So these components were introduced in this VIRSA component, the VIRSA tool. 5 things, and this is purely ABAP stack, right? On ABAP stack. So as you know, we have NetWeaver system with dual stack, ABAP plus Java stack, but we need only simple ABAP stack to implement this VIRSA component or VIRSA tool. So Basis is going to deploy by using these transaction codes in general in our SAP ECC system. So this is one thing. So access enforcer is nothing but it is going to take care of user provisioning part. So this is nothing but I am telling you SU01 and your PF SU10. There is no separate transaction code, and provisioning users to these T codes is nothing but access enforcer. If you see any documentation, you will be seeing this access enforcer, but there is no separate transaction code for it to access it. If you want to access any of these tools, we have different transaction codes provided by VIRSA here. If you want to access compliance calibrator /n/VIRSA/VR80, this is the transaction code. Okay, so VIRSA is the transactional based ABAP stack. Remember, okay, and I will come to you this point later. So simple thing is VIRSA tool is a transactional based and it's an ABAP stack, ABAP based tool. If you want to access role expert part, you have a transaction code called /n/VIRSA/VRMT. And if you want to access firefighter, so you have the transaction code called /n/VRSA/VF80. So this is GVRAT and this is VF80, and finally risk terminator /n/VIRSA/ZRTC/NFG. Okay, these are the transaction codes we had, and I am sure you might already saw these transaction codes and this VIRSA name in each firefighter tables and other component tables, because you worked on 5.3. So in 5.3, whatever the table you see starting with /VIRSA, if you see the transaction code starting with /VIRSA, but that is not the situation in GRC 10.0 now. You never see the VIRSA name in any table or any transaction or any functional module in our GRC 10.0 onwards. I'll tell you that story also, why we are not able to see that VIRSA name in 10.0. We'll discuss the further all those details. Okay, so these are the major components we had. So later what happened is GRC has been introduced. GRC has been introduced. Okay, GRC has been introduced. By using the same concept of VIRSA, there was a clear agreement between GRC, SAP and VIRSA. In this GRC, if you say GRC is having or is providing below solutions to the market. So mostly the basic important solutions in GRC is access control, and I am telling you GRC access control versions. We have GRC AC 5.0, GRC AC 5.1, we have 5.2, we have 5.3. Okay, so after this 5.3, the scene is again different. I'll tell you that also. So, but GRC is providing below solutions to the market. It could be any version. The GRC access control 5.x versions. So those solutions are access control, number 2 process control, number 3 risk management, number 4 what was that, global trading services, number 5 environmental health and sciences. Environmental health and sciences. These are the 5 solutions are available from GRC. So it can be called as AC, it can be called as PC, process control, it can be called as RM, it can be called as GTS, and it can be called as EH&S. So each solution is having a specific functionality, sir. Access control is going to deal with your access and authorizations of users and roles in an SAP system, and it is going to take care of all the SOD tools, SOD rules, and to avoid misutilization, obviously. And I'm telling you that is very important thing. Access is going to play a very major role in SAP system. The user might be CEO or CFO or owner of the client or whoever it is. He should have the authorized transaction codes. Giving authorization is very important stuff. Okay, so process control is going to deal with process related stuff, mostly with financial data, and to define proper processes in the organization. And you might already heard about all these components are solutions, and there is no rule that all those 5 solutions needs to be implemented in GRC. Okay, there are only few projects with other tools, other solutions now, and access control is our ultimate goal now. Okay, we are going to learn about access control, and these solutions were there from the beginning. So after this 5.3, and we had in GRC, what I would like to tell is GRC access control 5.x versions. Just would like to give you components of GRC access control versions. So if you say number 1, they just introduced GRC with web-based functionality, sir. VISA is a purely transactional based, and GRC 5.x versions are web-based. Okay, so these are web-based. So for that, we definitely need a NetWeaver system. I'm just giving you high-level information. We'll discuss these details very in-depth if required later. NetWeaver system. So the what components we had is, we had CUP, we had RAR, we have ERM, and we have EAM, and we have RT. This is as usual. You guys know about these components in the 5.x versions. This is compliant user provisioning. This is risk analysis and remediation. This is enterprise role management. This is emergency access management, and this is your SPM, super user privilege management, and this is risk terminator. Okay, so these are the components we have in 5.x versions. So we'll discuss about this web-based stuff, NetWeaver stuff, and how the components can be, or these components can be accessed, what are the URLs we have, and etc. later. So what happened after this is GRC access control 10.0 has been introduced. 10.0 and 10.1. Now The latest one is GRC Access Control 10.1, latest version. So when you compare the versions now, BIRSA 4.0, okay, so BIRSA 4.0, GRC AC 5.x, X means 5.123, and GRC AC 10.x, where x equaled 0, 1. Here x equaled 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the versions and the story. And when you talk about components, in a simple sentence, I'll just give you the components and then end up the session if required. So, components of GRC AC 10.0. Now, number one is ARM. So, let me write here access request management. Number two is ARA access risk analysis. Number three is BRM. They just changed the naming convention. Business role management. Number four is EAM, emergency access management, and RT we had as usual. Okay, risk terminator. So if you see, they changed it like this, and the GRC access control 10.1 what was, it's ABAP based, not Java based. It's a ABAP based tool. You will come to know how it really implemented and all the stuff. I'll show you the system also anyway, right? Okay, this is the way. So the tools and the components naming conventions were changed like this. Just for your more information, CUP compliance user provisioning. Okay, and RAR is risk analysis and remediation. ERM is enterprise role management. SPM is super user privilege management. This is as well risk terminator. So accessing these components we use URLs. Accessing these components we use again transaction codes. Of course, we have separate strategy to access these things. In ABAP stack, we use NWBC or we use some other front-end tools to access these components of GRC 10.x versions. Okay, so this is a story of our components in each version. Anybody has any questions as of now?
No.
No, right? Okay, good. Manoj?
No.
Okay. So now the next part is we can slowly jump into the tools overview in depth, like how tool works, how T-Codes works, what are the things we are going to do from our side, and once the basis guys do the installation, what would be our role from the post installation, pre-installation, and then the other stuff. Okay, we'll discuss those things later. So I think as part of demo, it's more than enough. It's more than hour, right? So we can stop the demo for today here, and you just think yourself and come back to us, and you can coordinate with Jilani. So Jilani, I think it's more than hour. We can stop demo.
Yes, yes, sure, sure. Thank you very much, Srinivas. Thanks for your time. Anil
Yeah.
and Manoj,
So
if you
now,
have any queries, please discuss with instructor. I mean, if you have any technical doubts or anything, if you want to discuss anything, please discuss with him. We're going to end the
yeah,
session.
yeah, that is what I'm going to ask. So any questions from you guys now? You can shoot. So we'll discuss.
As of now, there are no questions.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I just gave you an overview.
Overview,
So
yeah.
yeah. So the intention of this demo is to understand how instructor is going to discuss with you in the coming sessions, to understand more about his terminology or the content of this. So we are going to discuss these things in our coming sessions from the beginning. Okay. So if you have any questions and concerns, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll close the session for today, and you just coordinate with Jilani, and then accordingly we'll start the sessions if everything goes fine.
Okay.
Okay,
So no
Srinivas.
questions, right?
Thanks for your
Yeah.
time.
Perfect.
Anil and Manoj, I'll get back to you offline. We'll discuss and we'll take a final call.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank. Bye bye.
Bye bye.